All right, let's talk about what muscle groups pair together extremely well and why. Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. I thought I would chat with you guys and gals a little bit about this today. And I'll just kind of show some of them through here of some of my training clips. So right up front, you're going to see me doing chest and triceps together. You're going to see some flat bench, you're going to see incline bench, you're going to see some tricep extensions. So why does this group pair together so well? Because we're going to talk a little bit about synergies and movement and everything, mainly because all of your chest pressing exercises work triceps, okay? They work triceps. And the interesting thing is that they work the triceps in a different manner than most extensions do. In other words, if you look at all the research, look at the anatomy of the muscle, the way the muscle actually functions, you'll notice that the tricep has two different functions, right? It's got obviously elbow extension, but then it's also got shoulder extension for the long head, right? So you'll see me doing that there. It's going behind the head. You see that shoulder traveling, putting it into a stretch load or a lengthened position. All right. These work great together because half of your tricep gets very effectively stimulated from pressing. So all of your chest presses, and I don't care whether they're with barbells, I don't care if they're with dumbbells, decline, flat, incline, doesn't matter. They all work the triceps. They also happen to work the tricep lateral head a little bit more than the long head. A lot of press downs, a lot of extensions tend to focus slightly more on the long head. So do you see where we're going with this? So by doing them together in the same workout, it really, really works extremely well for giving you a very effective tricep workout because you're already working them. So if you're doing chest and triceps together, your triceps are getting worked all the way through. Okay, they're getting worked all the way through, and then you can finish them out. And there's been some data over the years that kind of suggested that triceps have a higher work capacity than pecs. So just pairing them together, it makes a lot of sense. It's really efficient. It works extremely well for workouts. Up next, you're going to see here is going to be back and biceps. Again, a very, very classic. So why? Well, a lot of it's the same reason. Most lat exercises, barring pullovers and straight arm press downs and deadlifts and all that stuff, setting those aside, the majority of our back exercises, which is going to be what? Pull-ups, pull-downs, rows of different types, they all work the biceps. Now, a lot of them are not the best bicep stimulators, right? Chin-ups are pretty good, but a lot of them are not the best bicep stimulators, but they work the biceps. So here's the thing, and I'm going to get to that maybe near the end when we discuss it, the end of why that kind of matters, that we're not doing exercises earlier in a workout that don't work all the muscles that we're trying to develop. There's a point to that when it comes to intra-workout fatigue. But all right, same thing here. So you'll notice that, and then afterwards, like these are from the same workout I did. After my back work, I did barbell curls, I did incline curls. Okay, this works really well because the biceps are already getting a good warm-up. They're getting some stimulus, they're getting some work, and then you can come in and target them. Just like I would say on back days, even though I like shoulder days, for a lot of people, targeting things like rear delts on back days, like people who don't have actual individual shoulder days, like it actually makes a lot of sense for literally the exact same reason, right? Because they're already being worked pretty good, so then you can really finish them off. All right, I like doing calves after quads. Okay, so here you'll notice from the same workout, doing some back squats, doing a belt squat, which, is just basically a machine squat around the waist, right? And then I did barbell calf raises, because I don't have a machine for that. I don't have one. I don't even have space for one or any of that at this point in my garage, but it's the same idea. Okay, when you start looking at the data out there, there's been data over the years that shows that back squats and even some other quad exercises actually are pretty good calf stimulators. They're pretty good calf stimulators. They actually do work your calves. The same idea here as, doing biceps after back. Your calves are already getting a really good warm-up. They're possibly getting a pretty good pump. Okay? Getting a good pump. So they're getting some work already. You can then come in and finish them off. By that same token, so it's the same idea of isolating the muscles that got worked on the big things. We don't always think of squats and leg presses as calf exercises, but when you look at the research, you look at the anatomy, they actually get reasonable stimulus. A lot of people's calves actually do literally grow from squats. So it makes sense. So if you're going to pair something with your leg work, a lot of your quad exercises, barring isolation work, like leg extensions, they do work calves. So just like you might come in and do leg extensions afterwards to finish the quadriceps off, you could do the same thing and do calf work and finish your calves off after doing that, because they've already been worked. So then it's a matter of saying, let's go ahead and finish them out. Let's go ahead and get them stimulated instead of making them just work several times a week in other workouts. And the reason I bring a lot of that up, when we start looking at some of the data out there, there's some info that might be suggesting that the really frequent workouts don't always allow for sufficient recovery anymore. Like we were looking at muscle protein synthesis back in the day. And at the end of the day, training a muscle once a week has never failed to produce results in the real world. Plenty of jacked bodybuilders, including naturals, done amazingly well that way. So it clearly works. But here's the idea with a lot of it. When it's been measured and we measure force output, when we do other muscles in a workout, okay, besides the ones that we finish with, they produce less force. So people say, well, you want them fresh. No, you don't want them fresh. You actually want every exercise to have worked that muscle, ideally before you get to it at the end. So for example, if you do a bunch of chest work and then you do biceps, and that's how I used to do it, for example, I ended up with lagging biceps. Of course, I was powerlifting at the time and not giving them enough attention. But what ends up happening, it creates peripheral nervous system fatigue. And when that happens, when you get later into the workout, the muscles you do last, they may not be able to fully fire all the motor units. Okay? And so if they're still too fresh and they haven't already been worked, they may not be getting sufficient stimulus. But if we make sure that they got worked all the way through, then we know we did reach a lot of those upper threshold muscle fibers early in the workout, even while we were accruing that fatigue that makes us weaker later in the workout. Okay? So then, at the very least, they've gotten some stimulus all the way through. And then it's just a matter of finishing them out. But if we're hitting them fresh and we don't have the peripheral nervous system to get to some of the deep fibers in them, it may create a problem in terms of just developing them. And that's something I noticed when I did upper-lower splits over the years. The muscle, whatever muscle I worked last, if it didn't get a lot of stimulus earlier in, it didn't really grow, like my biceps. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.